Hello, I am Voided and Lost, and welcome to another redstone tutorial. Today I will be making this machine behind me. This is a horse racing gambling game. Now last month I put out a poll, and this is the one that won. So, to play this game, for those of you who did not see that video, the premise is fairly simple. There are 4 tracks representing each horse, which is color-coded, and those match the shulker boxes here in front. And you put in your diamonds with whichever horse you want to bet on. For example, like if I wanted to bet on gold up there, I would put diamonds into this shulker box. Now, with this machine, you can bet from 1 up to 2 stacks of diamonds. And once it reaches 2 stacks of diamonds, the shulker boxes will lock, so it will not accept any more than that. Likewise, you can only bet on 1 horse at a time. So as soon as you start putting diamonds in one box, the others will lock. And then, when this box finishes emptying out your diamonds, then it too will lock. So for example, if I want to play 10 diamonds, I will put 10 diamonds in here. The track will clear. You'll get the nice sound effect as the machine is processing your diamonds, but that's the horses getting up to the starting gate. You get the chime, and they're off. Ooh, good start. Goods, come on. Come on, horse. No, come on, horse. Come on, horse. Oh, wow. Okay. If I had won, my diamonds would have been coming out there, but I lost. Now, with this machine, if your horse is the only horse that crosses the line, you will double however many diamonds that you put in. If another horse happens to cross the line at the same time as your horse, you will only get 1.5 payment back. So not double, it will only be 1.5. And the way I have this set up currently is if all 4 horses cross the line at the same time, everybody winning is the same as everybody losing. So you will lose your diamonds. Now that feature can easily be turned off by the track owner if you don't happen to like that. And I will show you how to do that at the end. In this world, I will provide a world download of this world, and it will have each step in making this machine. And I also have the instructions for the game here in this little lectern on how to play. If you want to read through, you can pause. There you go. How to win. Okay, so let us, I guess, get into the build. So before we even begin building, you need to be aware of where your chunk borders are. So this machine will not work if there is a chunk border crossing here in the middle of a memory circuit. This is a memory circuit right here. And there we go. So these are my chunk borders. And you can see how it's crossing right here in the middle of the memory circuit between the hopper and the comparator. If you have a chunk doing that, your machine will not work. Just be aware. So what you want to do is try to get your machine mostly in one chunk. This over here, the chunk border is off to the side of the memory circuit. This one does work. So you might want, when setting up your machine, to just align the left edge to where your chunk border is. And then that will place the machine in a safe position for it to work. In this case, I happen to have aligned it to the right. And that too works. But if you want to make sure that you miss that chunk border, you can slide it over. Okay, so that is very important to know. If you do not have a way of figuring out where your chunk borders are, this pack that I have on right now is by Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter's Chunk Borders. I will put a link to his stuff down in the description to this video. Or if you're on a console and can't install his pack, you can check out a website like Chunkbase. Yeah, chunkbase.com to figure out kind of where the coordinates are, and that should help you out. And again, I will link that down in the description. So to set this up, we have, if I come and look at the side, the floor level. The floor level, you're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. Take all of those out. From your back wall to the front, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the cavity behind the wall, all of that redstone over there. So behind the wall, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is above the floor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So all of this has to be taken out. And then across the front of the machine, if this is our edge, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So it's 19 wide across the front. Now again, to reiterate this, I've put this edge on the chunk border. So that's where I'm starting my machine, is on this edge on the chunk border. And the block count for this machine is 5 blocks of redstone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks of redstone dust plus 22, a stack and 20 of redstone repeaters, almost a full stack of the redstone torches, 27 target blocks, 4 levers, kind of just to have them, 4 buttons. It does not matter what kind of buttons, these are just to redirect redstone signals, 5 powered rails, 26 stacks, or 26 sticky pistons, 2 slime blocks, a stack and 15 of redstone comparators, 4 decorated pots, 54 glass, 6 barrels, 1, 2 stacks, almost 3 stacks of observers, 32 droppers, 62 hoppers. You are going to need a bunch of stackable and non-stackable items for the dropper. 23 bulbs. These 3 are for in the floor, so kind of just make sure they match your decoration style. That's why they're separated out. Almost a full stack of redstone lamps. I will hop over here to this one. For your note blocks, 9 note blocks. And then to make your different sounds, you want 3 glass, 3 packed ice, a soul sand, a block of gold, and a stone. You want 8 item frames. And, well, you don't have to have these, but it makes your machine look nice. 8 item frames, and then 2 each of your horse armors. And then your matching shulker boxes. I did the shulker boxes, but if they are too expensive for you, you can use barrels and then just surround them by wool of the matching color rather than do this kind of a setup. You can do that kind of a setup. And then for the backboard and floor, these are my choices, but you can make these whatever you want. And then here's the list of all your scaffolding blocks. Altogether, there is 544. You don't have to use these colors or materials. You just want 544 blocks. These are just broken down into the different circuits with 6 slabs at some point. And that is what you need to make this machine. So over here, I have laid out my flooring blocks. And then back here at the back wall edge, we are going to go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, like that. And we are going to put in a shulker box. Now we should be 2 from this front edge. Actually, I want my shulker box like that. There we go. Take that out. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3 again. Put a block here. And the next shulker box. 1, 2, 3 again. And the next shulker box. And lastly, another 3. And the last shulker box. And we should be 3 from the end. There we go. Take out these middle blocks. Take out all of these spacer blocks. There we go. Okay, and we are going to start here. And what we do to one, we will be doing to the other 3 to get this going. We are going to start behind the shulker box, and we are going to come down 2 blocks. We can take that one out. Over here on the front, a hopper pointing into that block, and we can put a barrel next to this one with a hopper pointing into the barrel and another hopper pointing into that one. On this side of things, we'll put another block, and we can take that one out and put a comparator there, taking a reading off of this, which is going to be our sorting hopper. In front here, we'll do glass, a bit of redstone dust. We will come down a block off to the side like that with some more redstone dust. And we'll come down one more time here with a repeater. That is going into some dust with a target block there on the side and a redstone torch on it like that. Now that is going to lock this hopper and prevent it from draining items out of this one. So now we can put our items into our sorting hopper, and it will be 18. Oh, nope, it's going to be, there we go, 21, and 1 diamond there. And then in this one down here, we'll put 1 diamond as well. And so the sorting hopper is set up. So now let us repeat that on these other 3 boxes. So now test that each one of these sorters works by putting some diamonds in it. And they should siphon through like that. And the diamond should end up over there. And just kind of make sure that each one of these works like it should. Like that. And the diamond should end up over here. Okay, so do that with the other two, and then we can move on. The next step has to do with how the diamonds go in. When these hoppers finish pulling the diamonds out of the shulker box, we want them to lock so that we can't place additional diamonds in and mess up the counts on the horse track, or be able to bet on multiple horses. To do that, we are going to essentially set up a system that locks this hopper. So next to this bottom one, put a block with a comparator pointing into it. On this side of the comparator, have a dropper facing down. Next to the block, have a dropper facing up. And then put an item in the bottom dropper. Now to trigger this, to shoot the item up into this dropper to create the signal to lock that, we are going to come here next to this bit of redstone dust, put another target and a torch on top. And just by doing that, I move the item up into there. See, there it is. And it's locked now at the hopper. Test this out. Yep, no diamonds going in. So go ahead and do that to these other two, or other three. A block, comparator, dropper pointing down. You want to crouch to do that so that you can not put the comparator in subtract mode. And one item in the dropper. Target block over here. Target or a redstone torch on top. Block, comparator, crouch, dropper, whoop, dropper pointing up, item, target block, torch. Make sure you are using a comparator and don't accidentally grab a repeater. All right, cool, good. Good. They should all be locked. And let's just double check this last one. Yep, it's locked. All right, cool. So now the question is, how do we unlock those? Well, we are going to be doing that in two steps. The first part we'll take care of now, and then the second part will be later on in the video. To get this bit set up, right here off of this back block, we're going to come there and up one. Then on top, put a sticky piston. And then put a block on the face, take out our two temporary blocks there, and put a target block on the back. So now, let's grab ourselves a temporary lever. Whenever this target block gets triggered, there we go. It will be above the torch. The power from the torch powers the block, triggers this dropper, and that will put the item back down into the bottom dropper. Okay, so a simple enough system. So again, do that to these other three, over and up one, put a sticky piston there, block on its front, take out those two temporary blocks, target block, and put a temporary lever on, and it unlocks. Unlocks. Okay, so now they are all unlocked. Now we want to do another test. We are going to be testing this pretty much through each step because it becomes way too difficult to troubleshoot after the whole thing is built. So we are going to test to make sure the locks actually work when we put diamonds in. So grab yourself some diamonds, and I'm kind of keeping an eye, down on the comparator. Once the diamonds got through, it got triggered, and the diamonds should be back here again. So I'm going to do that with all of these. Make sure that it happens with one diamond as well as multiple diamonds, because the machine needs to be able to process a quick signal from one diamond the same as it processes a long signal from like 2 stacks of diamonds. And that is part of why the redstone is so complex. It is to accommodate for those different signal durations. And then we are going to go through and unlock them. Just like that. Okay, this next part also deals with the locking shulker boxes. But whereas the last part dealt with the shulker boxes locking themselves after the diamonds go through, this bit is going to lock the other shulker boxes that the player is not betting on. This has to do with the diamonds leaving the shulker box. Those are going to have to deal with the diamonds first going into the shulker box. So that signal has to be much quicker than our previous one. And to do that, to lock the others that aren't the one being bet on, we are going to take the signal off of this dust, bring it forward, but we're going to have to go down so it's not triggered by the torch. And then I need a slab. So we're going to go up 2 and put a slab there. Take those out. Now the cool thing about slabs is a redstone signal can go up, but it cannot go down. So that means the signals from these other ones will not leak back up onto our white wool. Just keep that in mind. Signal will go up, but not down. Okay, so here next to this slab, we are going to put a dropper and a hopper with an item in the dropper. Okay, we are going to take a comparator reading off of the hopper. That is going to fire into a block and a bit of redstone dust on top. Now this will not affect this one, because if we're betting here, that signal will not affect this choice because it's a bit slower. But if I repeat this circuit on these other ones, it will affect these other ones. So we are going to come above the dropper and over. So there's 3 blocks here. We are going to put a temporary block there and another slab there and a block down there. And now we are set up for dust and dust again. And we're going to run dust on top of these. And essentially we are going to connect all of these together. So again, a dropper, a hopper, an item in the dropper, a block down there so we can do a comparator, a block there with some redstone dust on top. Cool. Again, block, 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 dust, 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 temporary block, a slab, take that out, block here, dust, dust, dropper, hopper, item, block with a comparator, block, redstone dust, and now we are on to our last one, and we are going to have to do something a little different for this one because of the length of a redstone signal. Now, let's see here. That's a repeater right up in there, and if we count our blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Essentially, the farthest that this signal could reach is this gap space here, and that is not going to be long enough. So we are going to have to do something a little bit different here. What we are going to do is we are going to replace this block with an observer facing up. We'll put our redstone dust back on top. We'll put a block under it that it can fire into. We'll still do our slab here and our block down here, dust and dust, because the only shulker box choice that can't reach this spot is the far right, but everything else can. So we'll just kind of keep the redstone the same here. But to continue this down, that is going to fire. I just don't like putting redstone on dirt, so it's gonna fire down onto that. We'll put a repeater here and a block there, and right here we'll have our same dropper and hopper set up next to that slab, an item in the dropper, a block down here so we can take our comparator reading, into a block, redstone dust, and lastly we will still do the block and dust on top of that, just like we did here. It's on top, we'll keep it on top. And now that, I think, is set up, so let us test it. And what we are going to be looking for, I'm going to start over here, I'll put diamonds in, and what I want to see, as soon as I close that shulker box, I want to see these other comparators lit up. And I want to see this one light up after this box is empty. So let's see if we can do this. This is best done with a large stack of diamonds. And like that. There we go. The 3 over here on the left are lit. And now this one's lit. So I will do that test with all of these. And not only, let's get my diamonds back. Not only do, hi, there we go. I like talking to you guys face to face every once in a while. Not only do we want to try this with a large stack of diamonds, we want to try it with 1 diamond and 2 diamonds as well. Because you want to make sure that the machine can deal with a fast response. So we will unlock all of these, reset them, and I will try this again with 1 diamond. Close enough. Close enough. They all lit. They all locked. And then we reset. And don't worry, this bit will be automated later on in the machine. And I will try that same test with this. Large stack first. Yep. Those 3 lit. And then this one. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. light. There we go. Reset. And then run 1 diamond through it. And make sure everything locks. Boom. Beautiful. Alright, do those same 2 tests for your last 2 shulker boxes and make sure that things lock how they are supposed to. And then when you have done that, you can move on to the next part. Next, we are going to do 2 things. The first, as diamonds are going in, they have been getting collected into the barrel. So we need some way of getting them out of the barrel and over to where they can be used to pay the players when they win. The second thing we are going to do in this step is, at the beginning of this video, I said that you can play from 1 diamond up to 2 stacks of diamonds. So we are going to make these shulker boxes lock after 2 stacks of diamonds have gone through them. So we will take care of both of those steps kind of in this one. So firstly, directly under this barrel, put a sticky piston, and then put a block, take that out, and then have a hopper facing to the back, like that. Then come 1, 2, 3, 4 more, then come up 1, and then have hoppers again facing into each other going to the back. So 4 more there, and then take these out. When the time comes, we are going to trigger this piston to raise the hopper up, and it's this hopper that will drain the items out of the barrel and send them to where the player will get paid. So that's step 1. The next thing we're going to do, we are going to put a block there and get a comparator reading on the barrel through the block. Put a bit of redstone dust here. Put a block there, another bit of redstone dust, and another block there with a repeater on it. Now, I don't want this to connect, so we will put a target block above it. Now, I know it still looks like it's connected here, but the target block is actually cutting that signal off. And then on top of the repeater, looking down, we'll have an observer. And then an observer looking at that observer. Another one there. And then we are going to come down and put one there. Looking, there we go, looking up. And we're doing it in this place because as it fires, it'll fire down on that and not do any damage. It does not matter if it's firing on the repeater. Then we are going to come around to the front and have one more observer. I don't know if you saw that, this observer. And that one is firing into this block. And what that will do is if that observer fires into this block, it's going to trigger this and move the item from this dropper up into this dropper. So when 2 stacks of items go through this hopper, the signal strength will increase on this comparator from 1 to a signal strength of 2, and that will trigger the rest of this to lock the hopper. Okay, so one more time. Under the barrel, we put a piston. We put a block there so that we can have our hopper facing to the back. Do 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come up 1. And then have hoppers running into each other like that. Then take out the rest of these. Put one block behind the barrel. one comparator there, dust, we'll just say 2 blocks, dust there, repeater facing away there, and a target block there. And then looking at the repeater, it's an observer, an observer, an observer, come around and down, an observer there, and then an observer there. Cool. And we'll do that again. Do the other 2. So now we are going to test if this works. The idea is that they lock at 2 stacks of diamonds. So I'm just going to start over here and work my way across and repeat this test for each of them by putting in not just 2 stacks, but I want to make sure they lock at 2 stacks. So I will put 2 stacks and a few extra. And then we kind of just wait. And when this locks, hopefully there'll be 10 diamonds left in here. 10 diamonds. And that is what we want to see. And the other 2 stacks should be in the barrel, just like that. Now, I'm going to repeat this with the other 3. If you do not have 2 stacks of diamonds on you, then you can do this test with any other block, like cobblestone. What we want to do first is reset all of these, unlock them. And then if you do not have diamonds, you can go ahead and use a common block like cobblestone. Just replace these temporarily with cobblestone like that. And then you can run run cobblestone through it. And that will give you the same test. Just making sure the other hopper's locked. Waiting on this one. There we go. Just like that. It worked. Now do not forget to put these back to your diamonds. Otherwise you will be confused later on. But there we go. Yeah, I'm going to do this test with the other two, and then we can move on to the next section. All right, let me just reset these one more time. Unlock all those front shulker boxes. Okay, now this next part is going to be us transferring the player's choice of one of these colors to the back of the machine, where we can then later compare it to the winning horse to see if we have a winner or not. And we are going to do that off of these target blocks here. So we are going to do one block out, some glass, so that we don't lock these hoppers when we take them across. And then it's 1, 2, 3. And put a torch on the end. It is 1, 2, 3. A repeater on 4 ticks. Actually, we need a comparator here. There we go. Yes, comparator rather than a repeater, because essentially it's the line coming from our diamond sorter hopper, so it's already got one signal and we don't want to increase that. It's only when we get more diamonds in that the signal will go from here to here, and then we boost it. We'll put a redstone dust there. We will have a dropper and a hopper. Put an item into the dropper. We want to take a comparator reading from this hopper. So we will come down there. I actually want to have an observer facing up. Get rid of this block and put a comparator there. Yep. A block here. And a redstone lamp under it. This is essentially going to be our T flip-flop. And next to this, we will come, actually, you know what? Instead of going with that to keep things a bit more organized, I'm going to use the same color as the front of the machine. So I know kind of where my different lines are. So I can do a comparator here and dust here. Yep, I think that'll do it. We just need to repeat this to the other 3 lines. So once again, for this, it's solid block, glass, 1, 2, 3, a comparator, dust, repeater on 4 ticks, dust, a torch, come to this side, a dropper, a hopper, an item in the dropper, we will come over an observer looking up. Take a comparator reading from the hopper. That fires into a block with a bulb under it. We are going to come to the side, and again I want to match the color of the magenta. Just to help me organize things. Block there, another comparator, and dust on top of the block. And we repeat, rinse and repeat. Okay, so this is kind of what we're looking at now. Now, the way this is set up is the player's choice has a delay, a bit of a delay in it, coming to the back, and that is because in between rounds, from one play session to the next, we actually have to clear these before we determine what the new choice is. And the delay allows us the chance to do that. But to test whether this works, again, test. We're just going to put a few diamonds. Does not matter how many, but we're going to put a few diamonds in. And then we're going to come to the back. And there we go. That's the choice. I don't have the reset on it set yet, but let's go ahead and make sure these other ones work as well. And then we will worry about resetting them here in a moment. Oh, wait. That's not going to go through because it's locked. So we need to unlock them all first. There we go. Yep. Basically, it's going to come on once the diamond's finished going through the shulker box. Yep. It's all working like it should. And lastly, we are going to try this one. There we go. There we go. All right, so let's just kind of reset these real quick with this. All right, so now that we've tested all of these, I would like to kind of back up a little bit. I'm getting a little tired of manually unlocking all of these shulkers, so let us see about getting this set up to automatically unlock. We are going to come to this side of the machine, and from where this black block is, we're going to come over 1, 2, and on the third spot, boom, we'll put an observer looking out, so that, in case you missed it, it's the black, 1, 2, the observer looking out. And then we are going to run basically an observer line for a half a minute here. It's 2 more. Then we come up 1, and then we do 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we come up 2, 1, 2, and then we will put a block with some redstone dust on top of it. And let's go ahead and take all of these levers out. Be careful when you're doing this that you don't accidentally break any of your redstone dust. From here, we will do... we're actually going to kind of split this. We're going to go down there with some dust on it. And now this is going to fire into our target block, moving our piston. And then we are also going to come over with an observer here. Now the observer acts as a transparent block, so the power will still go down. So don't worry about that. So we'll come over 2 more, like that. Again, down to the side of the comparator. Redstone dust here. I want to come down, this time with glass. Over and down. And dust on it. Now, because I know I'm going to have some other blocks over here next to this glass that's going to redirect my redstone unintentionally that I don't want, on this end, I'm going to come over 2 bits of glass, take this one out, and I'm going to put a button there to redirect and reshape this bit of redstone dust to how I want it. Okay, but as you can see, this is now going into our target block. On this side, we have an observer. If I can get a little closer now, maybe. Oof. And an observer. There we go, an observer. Wow. That is a block there next to the comparator. That is firing into here. We will come make a cross like that. Take the middle one out. Dust down here. Dust up here. So that again, hitting our target block. Over this comparator, another observer. And then a block. Take that one out, and 2 bits of redstone dust. And that gets our signal to all of these. And our triggering point is going to be this observer here. So once again, let's test it. Just put something in. All of these are locked, you can tell, because of the comparators. Let me get my diamond back. So now if I put, for example, a bit of redstone dust in front, we can see, that happened fast, but we can see all of the comparators unlocked. You may have just been able to have caught this piston extending as I got back up here. Let's try the far one. Maybe I can hop up fast enough so you can see the pistons working. There we go. Okay, cool. That works like it's supposed to. Alright, so with my quick tests, I did re-trigger a couple of these. So this next section, we are going to work on how to reset the player's choices. This circuit is going to be kind of long and twisty a little bit, because all 4 choices have to trigger the reset, and the reset actually will be triggering other circuits. So we're going to start all the way from the back side on the right hand side of things. And this block just in front of the repeater, we'll put a torch. Then we'll go over and down, put dust there, and we are actually going to just stair step this down to the ground with dust, and a torch on the inside here. Now, I do not like putting redstone dust on dirt, so I'm going to change these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with dust. We are going to step up with a bit of glass. Back down, 2 more. Like this. And then I'm going to bring the line in like this and actually make kind of a large section like this. Dust here. And then this spot, I want a repeater. Dust next to the repeater, a comparator there, and dust here. And I do not want this to connect, so I will put a block over it. The signal here is going to come in 3 more spaces. 1, 2, 3, and end at a block. That's 1, 2, 3. On top of this block, we want a bulb. So this is one way this bulb is going to be triggered, and the other way is with observers. This is a very important part of the machine, this bulb. We will go 1 block here. I will do a temporary block over the comparator, just so I can do an observer. Take that out. And then 2 more observers, so it comes into the bulb. I will tie into this part later. Alright, coming back up here, just like we came off of this line with the torch, we will do that again with the next one over. So it's a torch, come over and down with a block, and dust. And this is kind of why I put the observers in, so I could go dust, dust, dust there, so that, oh, come on, can I go down? There we go, go down. So that right here, I can put a torch. Oof. You see how it blinked my bulb on? We will get that sorted here in a moment. Alright, so this line, we will repeat the same thing pretty much. A torch, a block down, dust, come over and down. But this case, I'm going to put a torch here on this face. Put dust on top, so the torch goes out. And over on the last one, again, a torch, over and down, dust, come over, down one more, dust, and in this case I'm putting a torch on this face. Now these will also need to fire into this line like these other two torches are doing. So I'm going to bring this line over until I'm under this block and run dust, 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 dust. Now I want to turn that bulb there off, so I will do that real quick. And now the bulb is off. That is the first part of beginning to reset the player choice lamps. The second part of resetting the player's choice. We are going to come down on the inside again. This short distance between the comparator and this block we'll pick right in the middle. And one up. And we'll branch off from that. There should be a bulb on top of that block, an observer looking at the bulb, and then two observers coming up with the block there. Put dust on top. Boom. Now to the back of the machine, we are going to come back with one block. We are going to come down with a piece of glass next to the hopper so we do not trigger the hopper. Bring our dust down and down to there. We want a repeater coming across. Now on this side of things, over here, we'll put a block next to the dust. On top of the block is a sticky piston with another block. Over here on top of this we'll have dust. Boom. And it's this dust that will re-trigger the bulb to change its state, because our bulbs are our T flip-flops. In this case that's fine. There's nothing else that really needs to be done. And you'll see what happens when this is already triggered. But the line coming up from here, let's go ahead and step up. And then we are going to run this 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that should put us in line with, yep, that hopper. So we're going to do dust, 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 and dust. These will be cut off when we put our front display on, because that is our line of blocks coming across here. I guess if you want and have your base blocks, you could put those in. I think mine was that. I don't know. You can run those across for your display. And that will cut your line off. Let me put the glass back. But back to this. Follow what we did here. So we are going to come over and down and over again. We are going to come next to the hopper with some glass. And that is dust, dust, dust. A repeater on the hopper. We'll put a block here. We will do a piston, sticky piston, sorry, on top of the block. We will do one block there and dust here. So essentially, when the player's choice has been chosen, it extends this piston and allows this reset circuit to come on through. If it has not been chosen, then we don't have to worry about resetting it. But this allows us to reset this bulb. Okay, so that is the yellow line and the blue line done. We are going to continue this direction with 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, over and down. 1 here. Glass next to the hopper. Bring our dust around. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Repeat. Repeater on the hopper, so put your dust there. Boy, there we go. Block next to the dust. Sticky piston on top of the block. Block there. Dust on the green. There we go. Now this last one on the far left, as you're on the back side of things, is different. This is going to be different. So this is 1, 2, 3. Come over 1, so we do not have the torch interfering with things. And then from here we are, what can I do? From here we are going down. Let me bring my dust over. 1, 2, 3, there. We are going to come over and down 1 more, but this time to the outside of things with dust. We want a target block now to redirect our redstone. Like that. And now we can continue with what we did on the other 3 with the repeater. A block next to the dust. Sticky piston on the block. Block on its head. And dust. There. Hello, this is me in editing, post-recording, and I have a bit of a change-up I want to do on this circuit. So, I believe I would have shown, we just got done with this, but here on this bit, I want to change this. This works, but I think there's a better way of doing this. So off of this end, above this torch, we'll put glass, take out this block. In fact, put a block here to block that dust, and then do dust here. That way we lower this block and bit of dust down 1 block, and that will help us out a little bit better when we do more redstone on top of this. So, in the rest of the video, it will show it the other way, but I think this way is a better way of handling this step down. Now, let us see if we can test this. I have this one and that one on. So just a quick test, we would like to trigger this line because this line feeds into the pink line. And they're off. There we go. And they should be quick and fast so that they can trigger off before the new choice gets triggered on. And I'm going to say before you do that test, definitely make sure you have your wall blocks in place so that that redstone does not come in and trigger the rest over here. I think that would be problematic. Okay, so now that that is in, we actually do need to do a bigger test to make sure that this is working correctly. We will do that by first putting a diamond here. Okay. This is on. Now, what we also want to do is that again, but I want to be able to try to see that bulb. And there we go. And I can just barely see it off the screen. Oh, that's not going to work. Why is that not going to work? Because we need to reset these. So it's triggered. Let us reset or unlock. There we go. Now they're unlocked. Now I can try this again, put a diamond in, and what I'm looking for, I'm looking to see that this turns off and then back on. That is what I'm looking for with one diamond. Because one diamond runs through the fastest, so I need to make sure that it works. Off and on. There we go. And we unlock the shulker boxes. Shulker boxes are unlocked. And now I do that test with a larger stack. There we go. It's off. And it's back on. Okay, so that is cool. Get my diamonds back. Unlock the shulker boxes. Alright, so this one is on. Now I want to make sure that one of these other ones can turn it off. So I'm just going to go down the length. Put one into here. That's off. That's on. Good. Unlock the shulker boxes. Do the next one. And one more time. Unlock the shulker boxes. And then I want to make sure that the ends work from one end to the other. And they do. So that all looks good to me. I'm going to collect my diamonds back. And move on to the next section. While we can still get to it pretty easily, let's put in a sound effect. So this is where we came up with our observers. Let's put a piece of glass here and a note block on top. Yep. So the next thing to do, we need to start worrying about what to do with the diamonds. As you're playing the game, the diamonds will be stacking up in the barrels. Well, not stacking, they'll be collecting in the barrels, waiting for us to trigger these pistons. So the reason we are holding them in the barrels to begin with is so that we can count out 2 stacks to be able to lock that if we have to. But as we're playing, we need to start getting these diamonds moving to the final payout dropper. We need to get them started even before the horses start running on our big screen. Because if you are dealing with 2 stacks of diamonds, that's going to take a while to get those through the hoppers. So they need to get started kind of as soon as we can get them going. So that is kind of why we put observers here, looking up at these comparators. So once the comparators are triggered, that's going to be our signal to start popping up all these pistons to get the diamonds running. I think it will be easiest to start over here on this one, right there. We are going to bring that into the middle of the machine. 1, 2, 3, like that. I need an observer down at the ground level looking up, which is kind of hard to do if you don't want to dig down into the ground. So another thing you can do is put one there. A piston, come on. There we go, like that. A bulb, because I know I need a bulb on top of it. And then, there we go. And now it's in the right place. Nice. Put a block on top. So that line powers the block, changes the bulb, and triggers our observer. I want another observer looking at that, another block, and a repeater on 4 ticks of delay. So that is this line for the yellow shulker box. We are going to tie into that same spot with, here it is, with this next line, the blue line. So we will come in here. As you can kind of see, it's a bit hard to weave things through here, but we're going to come over 1, 2. Then we are going to run it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 back to, again, fire into the lime wool. So that takes care of the yellow and blue lines. Now we'll do the purple and the orange lines. That observer is here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. That is going to fire directly into a bulb. Again, we can use the same trick. Observer looking up, regular piston looking down. Boom. There we go. Put a bulb on top. Put a block on the bottom. And a repeater. Again, 4 ticks of delay. This one, we want to bring over, what is it, 1, 2, make sure they are facing in the correct directions. Yep, I think 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 there. And now that's tied in. All right, now we are going to get into kind of a little of a complex circuit. These triggers are just going to be the initial trigger to pop up the pistons. But because observers are quick firing pulses, they will not stay on long enough to keep the pistons up for however long they need to be to drain out diamonds. And plus, we won't know how many diamonds are in these barrels to know how long to keep these on. So these are just going to be the initial thing to pop up our pistons, and then we will need another circuit to keep that signal going once the diamonds start draining. So if we start all the way on this side of the machine, over here by our yellow, and I think about this, if this piston is pushed up and the diamonds start going through, I can actually take a comparator reading off of this hopper, and as long as I have a signal going through this hopper, an item going through this hopper, I can keep the signal down here on the piston, keeping it extended. And so that is kind of what we need to be doing. So let's first off, I know I have dust coming into this piston. And then it is this hopper here that has the dust on it that I want to get the reading from. Nope, right here is fine. Yep, right here across from that observer, put a block. Put a comparator firing into the blue block. That will not hurt anything because it's just holding up the repeater, so that doesn't matter. That signal going through comes down onto a block here. And then I can do a repeater there into some dust. And that will keep that piston up as long as I have a signal or an item going through there. I need to run my triggers, my two triggers, over to get the initial pop-up started. So I will run it through here with dust. I, believe it or not, do not want these to connect because I want the 15 power strength from the repeater. So we'll put 2 blocks there, like that. Okay. I also want all of the green lines connected together. So again, coming off of the piston, we'll do that. I can do another reading from this line. Let's come over twice, take out the middle. Have another comparator firing into the blue. That comes down to the ground. Right there with some dust. Let's see here. I would like to put in a signal pulse extender, which I can do here. See, I'm at this one right there and there. You might as well do that and this again for that one. If I have a comparator firing into that block, comparator going this way, dust, dust, dust. There we go. Because even signals from here have to go that way, which they can go around into the block and that way. And the signals from there can come this way. I've got one more line here. Take that out. So I can do comparator. Again, that line comes down with dust. I do not have my comparator coming off of this line yet. I would like to do it here. No, not comparator, repeater. I'd like to do it here. That's for this line. This one, I'm going to have the repeater here. Dust in between. This is where our other signal is coming in. So we'll just kind of jimmy that around to that spot. Now I do have this final orange line to put in, but to condense my redstone, because otherwise I'm doing a comparator and a block that would put me outside my edge, I am going to do this last one differently. Specifically, I'm going to take my comparator reading off of the front. So we will put a block here, a comparator there. That way when this is popped up, I will be able to get a reading off of it immediately. Block there, a block down. So that sends my signal down. A block there in the middle. So that will be powered from this dust. Let's go ahead and put a block next to the black one. Swing back around here with a repeater. So I have a repeater just like I had repeaters at the bases of these other ones. So I have my repeater. A block there under the target block. And then dust and dust. And then, do I do it here or do I do it under? I think I do it here. dust, 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 and a block there to cut off the signal. Okay, so I've got my pulse extender. I've got all my other lines down. And everything is connected to a piston. Okie doke. So before we test that that circuit works correctly, I would like to go and finish up the hoppers. So we are going to come all the way to this side of the machine again. And where this blue block is, yeah, I said it right, blue block, put a temporary block there and a dropper facing out. Get rid of the block. So from there into the back of that, we are just going to run, oh my goodness, our line of hoppers right across here, each one pointing into the one in front of it. Until we get all the way over to the end. There we go. Good. Now we can test the machine. So the first thing I want to do is to unlock my shulker boxes because I can see they're locked, and doing this will do nothing. So I will go ahead and unlock the shulker boxes. Okay, like that. And then I'm just going to put some diamonds through it. I think that one's already lit, so let me try this next one over. 13. Okay, that's up. This piston here is up. Where is it? Oh. Okay, yep, that was the delaying circuit. The piston came down. So the barrel, yep, was drained. And hopefully they're all over here. 13 diamonds? 13 diamonds, okay, yeah. 13 diamonds. If you do not have diamonds in this dropper, it may be that you have some redstone powering and locking a hopper. Like if you accidentally made these solid blocks instead of glass, the diamonds may be stopped underneath them. So for sure, make sure these are glass. And yeah, I think that'd be about the only reason I can think of. This should be off. And yeah, that's on. So go ahead and unlock your shulker boxes again. There we go. And try the other, basically try all of them. Do it with one diamond. Do it with multiple diamonds. It's up, it's down because it was just one diamond. And at the very end, there should be one diamond down here. There it is. Like I say, it takes a while for diamonds to go through. So definitely throw a stack through it, just so you can see how long it actually takes. Unlock them like that. Okay, try the next one. Throw a stack through it. Oh, it's still processing. It's still processing the stack going through, so it hasn't gotten that initial firing. I know as soon as I look, there we go. The initial fire, it popped it up. And now it's keeping the piston up. Where is it? Here. Is this. As we are now draining this out. And then when that's out, and when this decays down, then the piston will drop. But you see, it takes a while for a stack of diamonds to go through. Yeah, it's empty. I know it's empty. Just waiting for the redstone to finish. There we go, there we go, there we go. Yep. Cool. Oops. Unlock the front. And just make sure you try all of them multiple times. You don't want any surprises later on. Before you move on to the next section. So next is going to be a bit of the payout circuit. Now that we have this dropper in here, we don't want the diamonds to just build up in this dropper. Again, we are counting. This is just to hold the diamonds so we can count them to know what to pay out to the player. So for this, we will come over and down with a comparator. Like that. Fires up into a block. Over and down, over and down. This here is going to be dust. This is going to be a repeater. Should be dust here. Next to the comparator. Should be a block here behind the repeater. Now down on the ground, we want a sticky piston. Above this block, we want a waxed bulb. Now, something I didn't say, make sure your bulbs are waxed rather than unwaxed so it doesn't cause problems later. Come over here on this side. Oh, this repeater, have on 2-tick delay. Don't forget that, 2-tick delay. Put a repeater here. That goes up and down. Dust there. Repeater here on 4-tick delay. 2 over there, 4 down there. All right, over here. We will have a hopper going, no. Let's see here. Block. Dropper going, okay, here we go. 2 temporary blocks. Dropper facing up. Get rid of those. And it's hopper. There we go. Yeah, because they need to be going into this dropper here. Yes. All right. Bring our dropper line up. Get rid of that block. Dropper there. And dropper on its side facing into this one. Facing into that one. Okay. So then we have a block here. Come down to, take that out. Put a redstone torch there. And there. And then for our sound effect, put a note block next to that block and a gold block under it. And for the time being, that will work until we tie into the back side of this to trigger a payout or not a payout. And that is what the purpose of this piston is. And then to finish this circuit, because we actually want to be powering the dropper to spit out the items, and we're not yet, we need a target block under the dropper, block here next to that observer, and then dust there. There we go. So now the signal will come down and trigger the dropper. And so the last thing I kind of want to do while I am in this corner is to trigger this shulker box unlocker automatically. And we will do that over here. That should happen after the payouts. Once the payouts are complete, that's when the shulker boxes should unlock and not before. So put a bit of glass here, and we will get a reading off of this dropper with a comparator. Again, the blue blocks are free for me to shoot signals into. Put a block under there because we're bringing our dust down. Redstone torch there. Put a dropper and a hopper setup here. And one item in the dropper. Get a comparator reading off of this. And a bit of dust in front. So now the observer's looking at the dust. And this only will shoot into the hopper once the torch comes back on. If there are items like diamonds in that dropper over there, this torch will go off, and then when the diamonds are finally out of that dropper, this torch will come back on, triggering the reset. Hey, you know what? We might be halfway there. We are on to the backboard. Yay! So, what we're going to do, we are going to get the face of this set up. You can decorate the bottom row here however you want. Use solid blocks. I'm just going to throw in some of these, change some of these up a little bit before I get going. Bloop and bloop, is that right? Orange, just check what I did over here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then 1, 2, 3. A wall. 1, 2, 3. Wind block. There we go. Okay, so starting over here on the left, outside of the frame really doesn't matter what blocks you use. For now, you will put in a color block, and then you want 15 lamps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and again end with your color. Okay, do decorative blocks on your next row, and then do your next color. Redstone lamps. Color. Decorative blocks. Your third color. 15 lamps again. More decorative blocks. And finally, your last color. And then decorate the top however you want. Okay. Cool. Good. Now that the display board is up, let's come around behind. And on each of these lamps, we will put some solid blocks going across with some redstone dust on top. Do that with all of these. Okay, cool. Now we will start on the bottom one. Come out a couple blocks. Do a comparator and a comparator in subtract mode. Behind this, we will put a decorated pot, and we will stick a non-stackable item inside it. There you go. And you know it's in because the line lights up. Now it should be a full signal strength coming all the way to the last block, and it does. So that's good. We are going to build the memory circuit for the first line in here. Come on over, give yourself a couple blocks. So the first thing we are going to do is actually build up here next to the pot by 1, take out that bottom block, and build up in this corner and take out that bottom block. Now we are going to use comparators. Have a comparator into there, and that is going to put the signal around to there, comparator to there, and dust to there. We are going to feed into this line with a comparator here. I think we can take that block out. This is taking a reading from a hopper dropper situation. So have a dropper facing this way with a hopper going right back into it. You can take out both of those blocks. Over here, we want this comparator in subtract mode as well. Now because of speeds on this thing and how finicky memory circuits are, the amount of time the item is in this hopper before it goes back in the dropper, when the dropper shoots it over, it actually allows twice the power strength to get into the memory circuit, and we don't want that. Basically, we want to cut this off quicker, so we are going to do another circuit coming around this way with another comparator into a block, into a bit of redstone dust, and then into a repeater. And the 15 power strength from the repeater is going to shut this off quick enough that only one signal strength from our dropper is going to get into our memory circuit. In this dropper, we are going to set the odds for how fast the horse can move. And generally, it's going to be 1 non-stackable item, and then 4 stackable items, 4 different stackable items. And that, to me, is a good ratio of what's going to happen here. And yeah, that's our memory circuit. Now, so you know, the stackable items output a signal strength of 1, and the non-stackable item outputs a signal strength of 3, which is what we would add into this circuit to determine if the horse moves 1 space or 3 spaces for each turn of our clock. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And so now, let's take that block out. So now we build this up, but one of these layers is going to get something a little extra to it. So follow along. So again, for the second row, come over 2 blocks, a comparator in subtract mode, a decorated pot with a non-stackable item in it. Come over here once, twice, and then up and over. Put a block next to the pot, and then come over like this. One more there, and then come up and over. It's a comparator, dust, This comparator is in subtract mode. Comparator going into it. Repeater going into that one. Dust here. A block there with a comparator on it. Can do a temporary block there. A dropper facing back in this direction with a hopper going into it. And then in here, do one non-stackable and one each of 4 different stackable items. And that is that one. Okay, this is the layer we are going to do something a little different because I need to run 2 lines through the machine to get from circuit that's going to be over here to a circuit, our payout circuit that's over here. So to do that, on top of this dropper, put a temporary block, come out 2 more, take those out, and then have an observer and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Swing around. Actually put a temporary block there. An observer going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right on back. And then take that out and those 2. Okay. Now on top of this, we can build our circuit again. So it's 2 blocks, comparator, comparator in subtract mode, decorated pot, non-stackable item, block next to the pot, 2 there, come up and over, block there, block there, comparator in subtract mode, comparator, dust, dust, comparator here, that's taking a reading from a dropper and a hopper, do a comparator off the hopper into a block, dust next to it, and a repeater going back into it there. Into this dropper, do our items again. And then put in the final row. And the last of the items. Okay, and so there's the memory circuit for the 4 horses. So now we want to test that these work like they should. So first we need to clear them, and then we will add signals back into it to see if it builds up. To clear it, put a torch there, and put a torch here. There we go. That's cleared all 4. And then the easiest way to do this, put a target block between the top and second from the top, and then put a target block between the bottom two. You're putting them between the droppers. And then put a torch on one, lever on one, lever on the other, and just give it a flick. Okay. So the top horse moved 3 spaces. Number 2 moved 1 space. Flick that one. 3, 1. Now they should be moving 1s and 3s and not 2s and 6s. That is what you are looking for. I think it's working pretty good. Yep. Okay, so something, let me show you what it's looks like when it's not working. So reset them. They're reset. For a brief moment, let me take that out. And let me just focus on one of these at a time here. So if you miss something, you do not want to see 2 on one go. This was a 1 that got doubled. Reset it. Yep. Again, a 2. See that? See how it jumped to 6 like on one go? Yeah, you don't want that. That should have been a 3. And that's why this circuit here is important. Just something to be aware of and keep your eyes out for. So I'm going to put this back how it should be, and we can move on. Next, we are going to do this reset so that we don't have to use levers. So go ahead, take those levers out. The reset is actually going to be coming from down low. Low. This bulb down here. When our signal comes in from the observer line, it's essentially triggering the horses to run. And when the signal is coming in from the bottom line, it is going to trigger the track to reset. And so this bulb is like a T flip-flop. So we want to come up 1, 2, 3, and then we are going to come towards the front of the machine once, and then come up one more time. That fires into another bulb right there. Let's put a block here with a comparator getting a reading off the bulb. And that fires into a block there, dust on top, a block above that, dust coming back, and yep, we should be in line with these blocks here now. So do a block here, a repeater on it, a target block behind that to redirect this redstone dust. Good. Now, a bit of glass there, glass above the redstone, dust, and we can do the next one. So again, it's a block, a repeater, a target, not there, target, there we go, behind the repeater. The dust is redirected. Then do glass, and glass, dust. Same thing here. A block, a repeater, target block, glass, dust, and the last one, block, repeater, target. Good. So it is important to note that while working on this machine and playing the game, this copper bulb that we put in here and the one at the bottom of that tower they need to both be in the same state. Either they both need to be off or they both need to be on. You do not want a situation where one is off and one is on. That is no good. No good. So just be aware. So now let's test these. We are going to run the horses a few times. Okay, they're on the board. And now if we trigger our reset from down, well, you know what, let's just put that there anyways, but there's a better place to trigger it than from there, and that is with this observer. So if we put a block here, yep, it reset our lamps. Now this torch tower is lit up because this bulb is on, and that means that the racetrack is locked. So doesn't matter if I do that or not, we are not going to get any signals or any lights on the front because this power is coming in at 15 power strength. So if you are having problems with your horses not running, check to see if that is locked or not. We can unlock it by taking that off. The observers fire again. Our bulbs are both off. And now the horses are ready to run. Next we are going to do the clock that runs the horses. We are going to actually start on this side of the board and at the bottom. So down here, let's have an observer facing up, a repeater on top, and then from there it's a bit of glass and some dust over and up, and we are going to make another glass redstone tower over on this side next to this block. Another observer. Actually, we can probably put all of these observers going in right now. All of the repeaters. There we go. And then all of the glass and redstone dust. Until we get to here. Yep, that looks right. Now we are going to do a slab. Best way to do this, come over temporarily, put a slab there, and then take that out. And we are going to use the nifty trick again of this being one directional. The redstone dust will go up, the redstone power will go up, but not back down onto this line. Put another block here. Okay, another bit of dust there. Come up with a block there. With the torch on it, it's face there. Come over a few, take out that block. And then it's a repeater and a repeater, both on 2 ticks of delay. Put a block there with some redstone dust on it. Okay, and there's our clock. Come over another block and then back up here. One more time. Over once. Glass goes here, and then another block down there. Put some redstone dust on these, and you know that is getting annoying. Let's put a torch on this real quick. Let's put a lever on this real quick. Temporarily turn that off. Okay, and then oops, not there. Glass down one next to the observer. One up. and run it over to here, take that lever off, bring dust down, down, up, over, over, over. There we go. So there's that one. And then we are going to do glass next to that. Dust on it. And then a solid block over and down again. So it's there, there. And then we can do a solid block there, and then to get past our hopper, just glass and glass again. Take out that. And dust, dust, dust. Okay. So that is that line. One more thing I would like to do, since I'm here, this should be automatically locked rather than using the lever. So what I'm going to do, next to this bottom target block, I'll have an observer looking up, another one looking at it. I'll do dust here. It can come up past the glass to here. Dust on top of the observer. I want to block that off so it doesn't connect. And put a repeater here. There we go. So now when the memory circuits are locked, we can also lock the clock, because that's going to send the signal back over here to the clock. So, for example, if I take this out, let's see what happens. It's running the horses. There we go. And when the signal hit the end here, specifically this one, right? Yep, one winner. It sent the signal through to the backside of the clock and locked the clock. And then on the reset, let's see here, where's my bulbs? Okay, yeah. On the reset, it'll lock from this way until the horses run again. So, yeah. Cool, cool, good, good. Okay, so now that we have our clock in, and the clock is running essentially the memory circuits for the horses, we need to begin thinking about how to tell if what the player bets will match with the horse that crosses the finish line. And to do that, we are going to pick up the signal for each horse here off of these observers, which is why we put in the observers. So let's start at the bottom. Now these are going to be slightly different between them, so try not to jump too far ahead. So first we're going to look at that, and look at that. And now, where else did I do it? Just like I kind of color coded these down here, I want to color code these bits too, just to help me out to know which lines are working with which. You don't have to, but this is how I'm going to do it. So we are firing into a block here, and then come over and down, take that out, put a repeater here. That fires into a block with a redstone torch on it. Boom. Across from the torch, let's go over and down. We will do dust and a redstone torch here. Now what this is going to do, we will be powering this dust from the player's choice side as well. So there will be two torches on this. And what's going to need to happen is both the torch from the horse has to go off and the torch from the player has to turn off in order for the torch on the front to turn on. And when that happens, that will trigger the machine to know if there was a match or not. So that's kind of the setup that we are putting in here. Come up to this next one. Over one. Over one. And now this one. Let's grab our magenta. This one we are going to go down and put some redstone dust here. And then a block there. And then come up with a block. put a repeater here. And the reason we brought this one up is space requirements for other additional circuits. On this side, do a torch, do a block there, redstone dust on top, and a torch on the front, and it should go off. Cool. Repeat that with this one. There with observers. Change up my colors. Boom. Block there. Dust. Block there. Come up and over. A repeater here. And a torch. Block and dust and torch. There we go. And lastly, the yellow. Looking there and there. And now, just like the bottom one, this one we're going to have the observer firing directly into the block. Put a block there, up and over, and a repeater, a torch, dust here. Now we don't want that to connect. What did we do? Oh, just powered all the tracks to the same length, okay? Because it seeped backwards. Okay, and finally, a torch there. Okay, so that's the first part of this matching tower. Part 2 of this matching tower is connecting each of the horse choices to the other side of this. And this is going to be a bit convoluted because, for example, I have to eventually get this one all the way up to the top. But we'll start right here at the easiest one. So put some dust there so that dust fires into this. Put a block there with a repeater. And then that is going to fire into a block here with a torch, with a block and a torch. All right. And then we will bring this 1, 2, come up and over to that spot. Yep. And then, let's see here. Dust. 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 Oop, nope, no dust there. Sorry. No. Repeater, there we go. Yep. Repeater, torch, repeater. Goes into dust. I don't want that to connect. So I'm going to take my, there we go, my line color. So again, I know which line this is eventually going to be. Wow. I do not want it to connect here. Okay. Over here to the side, a torch. Now, something, if you've seen my blackjack video, I explained this then. Even though I'm putting a target block here, this redstone, visually it's turning, but in truth, the power is going straight into this block. Well, it's actually probably making a cross now, but there is power now pointing into this block, and that lights our lamps on the front. And I don't want this signal to be lighting up that lamp. So we are going to have to put a button here. And now, in all actuality, this redstone dust is not pointing into that block. So that button is very important. And finally, because the whole goal of this, there we go, is to put a redstone torch to light that dust. So if I back up a little bit, you can see I have the horse choice lighting this dust and the player choice lighting this dust. So both torches have to be off for that to turn on. All right, so there's the first one. The second one is our magenta. Again, we are going to start, put a block there, and a block there with a repeater on it. So again, when the signal gets to here, it gets transferred through to here. Put a block there with a torch on it. Another block and a torch. And this time we are coming in this direction with dust. That is going up into a block there, and then kind of come down here, and a repeater in this direction. So we're coming around the corner, and I'm trying to match this one up to this block. So that goes into a block here, a torch here. I'm going to color code this here, another torch, bring it back towards the wall. Dust here, again, cut it off, do a target block there to redirect that, torch on the target block, and again, just like we did down there, this dust is not actually redirecting yet, so put a button there, and now it is not going into that back block. So again, you need that button, don't forget. And that is that line taken care of. And the third one, again, kind of keeping things as uniform as I can to start with. Putting a gray block here. Oops. A block down there with a repeater. That is firing into a block here with a redstone torch. A block on top. Now from here, we're coming to the side with a torch. Another block on top. Now from here we are swinging on to the inside, putting a torch here, and then we are coming over. Let's see here. Easiest way is probably here and here. Take that one out. Yep, there we go. Swing around with a repeater. There we go, repeater. Now down here, I do not want to cut this signal off. So we are doing glass. And let's see here. Before I put dust here, I'm going to put a target block there. So that will cut that off. Dust. There we go. Next to the note block, crouch, put a block with a repeater. There we go. Next to that block is a block, and then we will do a torch tower again. One. There's that. Two. There's that. And three. Yep, that looks good. Put another block here, and then run dust dust, and we will cut those off like that. Good. And you should be level with this white block here. We can do our color, boom, so we know what color we're on, and a redstone torch. And now those two match up with this. There we go. Just make sure as we're doing this that the torches are on the correct state. On. And lastly is the yellow. So, yet again, we'll come off to this side with a block. We'll go down there with a block with a repeater. And then from here, it's up with a block, a torch. And now in this case, we are actually going to use a barrel. And we will need this for a future circuit. But on the side of the barrel, we will do a torch, a block up, and then glass in front. There we go. 1, 2. Come over to the side, and that's 1 and 2. This should be dust, 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 dust. Do one more bit of glass over the piston, and then a repeater. There we go. That way, this torch over here powering this doesn't interfere with things. This repeater is firing into a block there. We will come around to the inside with a torch, a block on top, a torch here, a block on top. Okay, and so now that this block is being powered, we are going to bring the signal over to the side with some dust. Yep, there we go. And over and up, dust. Over and up again. But in this case, we are now going to switch to a torch tower with 1, 2, and on the third one, I'm going to use my color coding again. Yep, there we go. And we should be right across from here, so I can just put a torch there. And why did that go off? The only reason that went off is because this is on. So this shows the example of how the player's choice for the horse to win will affect your torches. And now if this horse crosses the line, that will blink this, making this blink. But for now, you know what? Let's go ahead and turn that off. By boom, boom. There we go. There we go. That's what it should be like. So how can we test whether this is actually going to work like we hope it's going to work? Well, we have no true output because nothing is connected to our diamond payment yet. This would be tricky. But what we can try to do is put some note blocks in front of these torches. Okay, yeah, no, that'll work too. So we can do that. And then down here, on each of these green blocks, we can place levers. And so... okay, yep, there we go. Turn it on. Okay. And now if we simulate a horse running through, so I'm going to put a lever here above the orange, and if I flick that, then I get a ding. Oh, you know what we need to do? Oh. So I'm going to put a lever next to each of these lines. And now we need to actually reset these horses so that this line here, this tower, is not powered. And to reset those, I need to power this. So I'm going to come on down and put a block in front of that observer. Yep, there we go. So now I should be able to test this. My choice is still chosen. If I say okay. Now that should not happen. That one should not go off if I choose any of the other torches. If it does, then you have issues. So I'm going to turn this one off by triggering the redstone lamp. There we go. And I will choose the next one. And go through kind of the cycle again. Yep. And you're really just kind of looking to make sure that they trigger the line that they are supposed to trigger and do not cross trigger things. Turn this off. Nice. And try the next one. That one should be this one. Yep. And it doesn't work anything else. Okay. So once you are... The only reason this is ticking the sound effect we put on the inside. So once you are satisfied that the lines actually are matching up how they are supposed to, we can move on to the next step. Ooh. Okay, what happened? That did not work. Ah, okay. Yeah, so because my clock is currently locked, this repeater is powering that block, keeping this powered. During gameplay, okay. Yep. Because the clock is being locked from this side rather than the horse side. So what we can do to test the top one, turn you off. We can take that out, re-trigger everything. The horses are going to run, and hopefully the top yellow does not win. Okay, so now the power's from up here rather than this side. Okay, so now we can test it. There we go. Yep. Yep. Okay, so keep that in mind. It does matter where this clock is being locked from, either the front or the back. So that's cool. Good. Now we can move on to the next step. Let's take these temporary note blocks out. And before I connect these to anything, there is something else we need to address first. Now these are not actually determining a win. These are just matching up a player with a horse. It does not say how much a player wins. And actually, if all four come on, the player will lose. So the important part about this game is counting the number of horses that cross the finish line. That determines what the player gets paid. And so to count the horses, I'm going to come down here and come over and down with a block off of the orange. Come over 3 more times and put 3 bits of redstone dust, just up to this point. So if the bottom horse wins, it will trigger these observers, fire into this, and then light up this dust. Below this, we will put a dropper, and then another dropper facing back into it. And into this dropper, we will put 4 non-stackable items. And these will represent the number of horses that cross the finish line. So if one horse crosses, one item gets moved over to the other one. So then over here for the magenta line, to trigger the dropper, we will just have an observer looking up with some dust on its face. And so if these fire, that is what will happen, and it will move an item. To trigger this one, first we'll come over with a block, and then we will have 1, 2, 3 observers looking up, and dust and dust. And so what we are doing is we are spacing these signals out so that if multiple horses cross the line, each time the signal comes down here, it can move another item, rather than having all the signals hit it at once. And lastly, over here, we will come there with a block, over and up with a block, and then, get myself in position, have an observer next to the bottom bit there, and then just bring that down to here. Take out this block, put dust here, and a repeater there. Yep. Now there should be 3 items in here. There are 3 items in here. Now this block is going to be for the resetting to move the items back into that dropper. But for now, we need to run this signal all the way over to here where the payments are going to be. So to do that, put a block there, put a block there, do a comparator. Not a repeater, comparator, because we need the exact signal strength. Do glass next to the piston, and a block on top of that. Do dust and dust. Oh, yeah, we don't want that. So block that off. We will have to reset that here in a minute. And do another block there with another comparator. There we go. Do glass and a block on the gray block. And again, dust. That's going to connect again. So let's not do that. Bring a block up first. There we go. Come down again with another comparator. Another bit of glass next to that piston. Another block here. Block up to cover that. And actually I can see right away that's going to come down, which we don't really want. So come over and back for a minute. Yep. Dust. So each time we extend this dust by 1, we are dropping a signal strength, which is kind of what we need. Over on this side, again, a block and a comparator. Now in this case, because we're nearing the end, let's just come up with a block right there. Come up again. Put dust here on this block. Put a torch here on the inside of this block. Do another block on top of that. And a torch here. Yep. then a sticky piston on top of that. Now, what's cool about these pots, these decorated pots, is we can actually get a slime block put next to it, and the slime block will not move our decorated pot, which is really cool. Okay, so now let us come back over here and move all of these items back into the other dropper, like this. And the piston should have retracted. The piston retracted. So, good. Now, to automatically reset this horse count, rather than manually, like I just did, we are going to be taking our signal off of this line, because this is already our reset circuit, part of our reset circuit. And that actually is going to reset many different things, not just the memory circuits for the horse. It will reset the player choice and the horse count and other things. So anyway, that's kind of why I put these two observers in before. We are going to pull a line off of them. With 1, 2, we will come down, and then we are going to come to the outside here, and then 1, 2, 3. Yep. Put a block on top of that block, a repeater on 3 tick delay, just like that. We want an observer looking at that. Put a block there. Put another repeater on this. We want a repeater on that one. And then to get down there, do a block there with dust on that. Now, because we potentially could have 4 items in this dropper, I need to hit this block at least 4 times to move the items from here back. So even with all of these repeaters, that's only going to fire twice. So I need to split a signal and bring it around and hit it again. So let's go, let's see here. Let's put a temporary block here. Have an observer looking up. Take that out. Put a repeater here on 2 tick delay. Put a block behind that, like that. Off from this observer here. Come once, nope. Work yourself in here. Come once, twice. Back here, come once. Come up. And then, yep, we should be at level with that once. You might have to work around to the outside. Where is it? The top one, right there. Yep, twice. And then once more over here so that it fires into our block. Yeah, there we go. So now when we reset things, that should come around and clear this dropper, put things back into that dropper. Now that the horse counter and reset is in place, let's come back over here to the payout circuit. So we can start laying this out off of our bulb here. Now, the way this is set up, once the payouts start happening, as the signal comes through here, this bulb will be flashing on and off. And I'm going to set up a payout system similar to what I had in the blackjack machine. But yeah, what we are going to do, take some observers, come up 3, so that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we are coming this way, and that is firing into a bulb, like that. Yep. On top of this observer, we want a sticky piston facing down. Actually, take that out for a quick second. There we go. Then we can put it back. Yep, okay. Yep, bulb there. On top of the bulb, looking at the bulb, is another 3. 1, 2, 3. And then on top of the third one, we will put a bulb. There we go, okay. And then I'm going to an observer looking at the bulb. Come down, back down 2. There we go. And then put a bit of soul sand. Like that. Actually, you know what? Come over here. Have a sticky piston in there first. Makes it easier. Then do your soul sand. And we want soul sand so that we can do our sound effect for when we lose. Then, where are we lined up? Yep, okay. Under the soul sand, we want another bulb. Yep. And then, observer, bring your observer line down. Oof. Can I do it? No. All right. There we go. And then you want to bring your line back here to this block. And so then this tower will trigger our diamonds to go up and over. While we are here, I did mention the note block to trigger our losing sound effect. We've got this bulb here. So look at that bulb like that. Oh, I'm going to get trapped in there. I do not want to get trapped in there. Come around to the front. Oof. There we go. Look at it like that. Come here. And then up. So now when we are losing, this circuit will be broken because this will be pushed over here. Put our note block up in that spot and hit it 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and so the note block is in place. And something we need to complete this circuit is another block on the bottom of the slime block. The way this works is if you are doubling your money, this is retracted into this position, and so then you have the observer here seeing all of this, and it just goes up and around, and essentially because it's an observer seeing the on and off of the bulb for each diamond that goes through this circuit, you will get paid out double. When we want a single payment from this circuit, this is extended, triggering this piston, which will then move this observer up and down. And because it's firing into the bulb on the back side here, it's only going to be hitting that bulb every other time, so that evens out the payment as a 1-to-1. And then when we trigger that, at the same time we are going to trigger a half payment, which is what these observers are for. And so then the half payment will also be feeding into this line, giving our total 1.5 output. However, the next step will be to tie into this piston, which indicates whether we are even deserving of any kind of payout. And that comes from our torch tower here. So we are tying this to that other piston. We'll start at the bottom. Let me get down here where I can see it easier. There we go. Okay, so first put a block there with some dust on this. So that comes from that one. Let's put a block here and bring our dust up to there. Okay. Next one will be this torch. We are essentially tying all these lines together Put glass here so we do not cut the bottom signal off. Put dust there. We'll bring that line up onto the observers, which is why we wanted the observers in the first place, and bring them this way for now. The next two torches here and here, let us do a downward facing sticky piston to the side of this torch here, a block on top with some redstone dust here, put a slime block on the sticky piston, and a block of redstone dust here. So that way if either two of those go off, they'll extend the piston and the redstone dust will trigger this dust. So there we go. All four torches are tied together. And so now, this will be a quick signal because all of these torches over here are being triggered by observers, which are quick signals. So we need to turn that into a sustained signal, which will be, let me make sure I have my bearings here, a block. So I need a block here. Yep, okay. So I need a block there. I need a dropper under the block. I know I'm going to be taking a comparator reading, so I can do a comparator there. Have a dropper facing back this way. Inside this first dropper, we will put one item. So now if that triggers, it moves the item from here to here. I get the comparator reading. This, conveniently enough, is part of the reset circuit over there, which can move the item back. So all I have to do at this point is put a block here, and when it's time to reset things, that will trigger it to go back. This, okay, we have to work this around some of the existing redstone. So we'll put a block, a repeater on, I believe it's 3-tick delay. That is going into, well, it'll be some dust here, but let's block this signal off first. So, oops, sorry, dust. All for this is going to be a repeater. It's going to be another repeater. Boom. That fires up into a block here. Oops. There we go. With another repeater around the corner. Yep. I'm lining it up with this piston. It's getting there. A block there on that one, and then a redstone torch there. Yes, there we go. So by default, this has to start off. Has to start with the player not winning, which this makes sense. And this one over here, by default, we want it to start player winning double, which is what it's set up to right now. So that's what we want. 3-tick delay on that repeater. Yeah. Good. Okay, one more thing we can do over here while I am thinking about it. Since we are dealing with horse counts and how I have this set up with the different payouts depending on the number of horses that cross the finish line. One horse, it's double the payment. If it's up to 3 horses, you get 1.5, but if it's all 4 horses, you actually lose. Well, that is going to be taking place here. And that is also why we put this barrel in here. So, in this barrel that's in here, put 3 non-stackable items. Do some glass and a comparator off of that barrel. And then here on the gray, put a block, do a comparator in subtract mode. Now, because there's 3 items there, this will not do anything until our count all the way over here hits 4 items, until all of these are in this dropper. So when that happens, then this signal will go through. And so come over one more, come up one, put a repeater here, and then put a sticky piston here. Yep. So what this is going to do is real quick, let me demonstrate. If the player wins, or if there is a match, this is what happens. If there is a match, this signal comes around, that turns off, and this gets pulled back to complete the circuit for the payout. But if there are 4 horses that come on over, that essentially, can I do this without breaking things? Yeah. That essentially creates this effect, which pushes this block up out of the way, causing this circuit to be broken. There you go. So that's what this does. If you do not want this circuit in here, just go ahead and take out the repeater, and you'll be fine. And let's just take this back out before we forget. There we go, because I've already got, yep, there we go. Okay, so now we have the task of tying in this piston and getting this piston to work. Normally this block is going to be, you know what, we might as well just put it down here. Normally that block is going to be there on that piston. And why do we want it to start down like this? Well, because our diamonds, if you recall, are coming in and getting stored into this dropper, like that. And if this block starts up, then it is automatically going to start draining out our diamonds before we even know which horse has won, and if we are supposed to be getting paid. So this has to start down so that this holds on to the diamonds until we know and get more information. So the machine is not doing anything until it gets a signal through here initially. And what is that signal going to be? Ideally, it would be a signal from a horse crossing the finish line, which is what this stuff is figuring out. Now, I've kind of run out of room to get a signal down from this dropper, which would be the most ideal because the items are going from here to here. But we can also get a signal from this dropper where I still have some room for redstone. And what we have to do is actually figure out if this dropper loses any items, if that makes sense. So what we can do over here, start by putting a block there and a block there, and we can get a comparator reading off of this dropper. Okay, 4 items in it. Now all I really need to know is when one item leaves this dropper and goes over to there. I don't need to know anything beyond that. So what I'm going to do is put this comparator in subtract mode, put one more comparator here, and then grab myself a barrel and put a barrel behind that comparator. And then into this barrel you want 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 non-stackable items. Why 7, you may ask, when there's only this many over here? Well, it's because this is 4 out of 9 spaces, and when you do the math and find the average, to counteract that, you need 7 out of these 27 spaces. So that's why there's so many in there compared to in here. And a barrel, will not be triggered by any of this redstone that's going around in any of these other areas. So that's why I'm using a barrel. Hello, post-recording me again. Remember how we changed this circuit earlier in the video? Well, this is what it now looks like with that barrel in place and the rest of this down here. So this is what this corner should be looking like. So then from here, that is firing into a block there. Come over once and twice. Get rid of the middle. Do dust and dust. A redstone torch on the end. Under the redstone torch. Yeah, you're not going to let me, are you? Okay, come over to there. Take those out. Put a sticky piston facing back in that direction. Yep, there we go. With an observer looking up. Okay, cool. Under this space, come down. So there, yeah. 3. Take out those 2 and put dust there. So that when this extends, it can fire into the dust. One more bit of glass. Come down with a step. Down one more to the ground. Dust, dust, dust. I need this to be one more. And then we'll come into the machine like that with 2. And then we will go back 1. And then we might as well go and connect that. And then bring this over to this spot. Do a couple there. Here, I know we have dust here, 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 and here. Okay, and then we have a repeater here, a comparator up there. That way we can do dust into the comparator, have a block space between the dusts. Dust, dust. Dust here. Under the magenta block, I have an observer looking at the dust. I don't need to, but I'm going to change all of these away from the grass to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An observer looking at that. A repeater on 3-tick delay. Here we go. A bulb under the yellow. Comparator taking a reading from the bulb. That fires up into a block with a block down here and redstone dust on it. There we go. Quick signal into a sustained signal. Into a sustained signal here. Wow. Okay. All right. Cool. 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 So that will do for this. And now because this is now a T flip-flop, I need another signal to reset that, which again comes from this line, which is resetting everything else. So on this line, we put another repeater, and that resets things that way. Okay. Good. Let me take out these levers because I don't need them anymore. So, what is the important thing to know about this circuit? If you are troubleshooting your machine and want to figure out why your payments may be off in comparison to where the race is starting, the important thing to know about this circuit is this piston needs to match with this piston. So if one is off, the other has to be off. If one is on, this one has to be on. if you are messing around with your machine, this bulb might change states. In which case then, that does not match that. And it will kind of mess up your payments. So what you need to do is just make sure that they match by changing the state of that bulb. And we will do a quick test to make sure that our barrel there works by taking just one item out, and that fired. That is extended. This is extended. Now it should not matter if we take anything else out of here. It doesn't do anything, which is perfect. There is one more circuit we need to tie together before we can do a proper test on this machine, and that is this one right down here, that observer. And that's kind of going along with all of the rest of this stuff here. This observer, let's see here. Yep, I know that. Here to trigger horse's run rather than the track reset. Both of these will do the same thing, but it's just a sequence of events as to which one is supposed to be doing which. So this is our diamond drain out. Once we start our diamonds draining out, at a certain point, that's when we want the horses to start running. So I'm going to replace these. Repeater to get it past that line. That's going into a block with a redstone torch on its side here. And then we do a dropper and a hopper setup. One item in the dropper, like that. We are taking a comparator reading in this direction off of the hopper. Now I want a quick reading because I'm going to look at this with an observer, and I do not really want multiple firings, and I can achieve that by putting a little bit of redstone dust next to that torch and a repeater there. Actually, I want the repeater on 4-tick delay because of how long the hopper does its thing there. Then let's hop up here. Ooh, I can't. Can I? Nope. Somehow you have to. Here we go. Maybe put the observer in first before you do the repeater. But you want an observer looking down. I'm connecting there. So an observer, geez, looking there. One more. And then work your way around. Inside. Okay, right here. Yep. Above that comparator to our last one there. There we go. Now, I think putting that in probably triggered something. Let us take a look at the screen. Yep, oof. I saw something move. The horses ran. Something happened. Yeah, I think the horses ran. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I'm going to double check that things still look like they should. Like I think they should. This piston extended. No diamonds inside. Yep, no diamonds in there. That's fine. That piston is extended, which means the bulb's on, which means I need to make sure this other piston is extended, which it is, so that's good. Let's see here. Trigger track reset from low. So at this point, with the track being on, that's good. I think it looks okay. So let's do a test. Let's do our first test of the machine. Grab ourselves some diamonds. Probably don't need that many, but diamonds will be going and being stored in this dropper here. So I'll throw in some diamonds. Now, I do not have my half payment set up yet. That's going to go in this corner. So I want to make sure that I can win and double my money. And so I'm going to actually rig this by taking these items out of this top one, leaving one non-stackable item. That is for the yellow. And so I'm going to put a bet on yellow, something reasonable, and hopefully this works out like it should. Reset the track. Oh, okay. The piston is, yep, piston draining the diamonds. And it should win. It's one there. It's triggering that. It's triggering that. Okay, now I might not have the full 20 diamonds because I think, yeah, I'm gonna lose some in these. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. I will take that one because the players can get to that one. 18. No, minus the one I had down, 17. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, now that there's diamonds in these, and I know where it's supposed to have diamonds in those, I can run the test one more time, just to double check that I have the right number of diamonds. And then we can do it with one diamond, multiple diamonds. Okay, there's our piston draining out our diamonds. It fell down. The circuit inside, the lime circuit, should be triggering the worst rates, which it did. And then once the diamonds were done, this got triggered. Our shulker boxes unlocked here in the front. So it should be essentially 21, 21, 20. There we go. Okay, and let's do this test with one diamond to make sure one diamond works. That starts off as a loss. Recognizes the win first, and then that pops up. 1 and 2. Give me the diamond. Okay, cool. And then just to make sure, we're going to do a loss, intentionally do a loss. Over here. And this is why I usually have the sound effects to fill the gap of the waiting. Okay, there we go. So I recognized I did not win, and that stayed extended. Okay, so I think this is a successful test. You can kind of see what's going on. When the lights are on the board, this in here, that bulb is off. That bulb should match the bulb above it. You can kind of see it way up in there. That piston matches this piston. Those are kind of the big ones at this point. So now let's figure out what the next stage is. I think I am good to start working in the 1 in a half payout circuit, specifically the half payout circuit. And that's going to fit in this chunk of space there. The half payout circuit is triggered when there are 2 or more horses that cross the finish line. So we don't want it to trigger when there's just one horse that crosses. And so we are going to come down here, back to this circuit, which is counting horses. And let us, for a minute, put this back over into here. Okay. And kind of look at our signal strengths. So with all 4 items in, that signal strength is at least 2. When I move one item over, the signal strength falls back to 1. For example, this is no longer triggered, it falls back to 1. Now, if I take one more of these hose out, then this goes to 0, and this block no longer becomes powered. Just like that. And now it's the fact that this is no longer powered that we are going to use to trigger our half circuit. So let me put these back over. And begin this. So for the moment, let's do dust here, but I don't want that to connect. So we will block that off from the brown circuit. And then right here next to this redstone dust, put an upward facing sticky piston like that with a block of redstone on top. Next to that block, we want another piston. With that, next to that block, with more blocks of redstone on top. And we should be, there we go, at our top height. Do an observer. That's going into a block. And we have a waxed bulb here. A comparator reading off of the bulb. And that is going into a block. Not there. There. With a redstone torch on its side. Now, we do have the issue. Yeah, okay. So this is a starting point. We do not want this torch on to start with. So let's go ahead and change the state of this bulb. There we go. Yep. We want that to start off. Okay, good. So then now, we come down here next to that, and come out, and then down one more, and bring some dust. Boom. Come down twice. Once, twice. Put a repeater. Getting a reading off of that block. And that is going both up, well, and down. Dust here on this one. A block in front of that. Let's see here. Let's do a repeater here. This is going to be kind of a honeycomb kind of shape. So above that is another block. Redstone torch on top with another block. There, okay. Coming down below this one, we are coming down again. And then a block on the observer. 2 repeaters, both on 4 tick of delay. And they are going into a block. On top of that block is a sticky piston with yet another block. Okay. This is firing into a block. There. That is going to trigger a sticky piston looking up like that. That has a bulb on it. We'll get a comparator reading off the bulb. That's what's activating this torch and sending the signal up. So now, let's come around to the inside here, right next to the torch. Place a block with some dust on top. Next to the dust, put a block. Actually, I guess I should have stayed over here because we need a repeater there. That is firing up into a block. There. Put one more off to the side. That signal is coming down twice, once, twice. So right there next to that, we will do dust. Okay, yeah. So now the bulb changed state and the piston pushes the bulb up. When the bulb gets pushed up, we don't want this cross to interact with the bulb when it is up above. So I want to change the shape of that dust is what I'm getting at. So come over once, twice, up one, take those two out, and just put a button on this block here. Yeah, there we go. That way, that'll work. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. That'll work just like that. Okay, so now way down here, where else do we have something going on? We also need a block here and here. This comparator firing, obviously it worked with the torch above, but we're also going to put dust here that gets powered with another repeater here. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now, what all of this does is it guarantees my bulb starts on, regardless of how it last ended. I need the bulb to start on because that gives me my half payout rounded down. Means if somebody bets, say, 3 diamonds, I do not want to pay them 3 plus 2. I want to pay them 3 plus 1. Because in Minecraft, you cannot have half a diamond. So this guarantees it rounds down. So this gets extended. Let's bring out here and then put a bulb here. Take that out. So when this gets extended, I also need something to fire off to trigger my bulb. Put a block next to the bulb with another comparator. Like that. Put a downward facing sticky piston. Like that. With an observer looking up. There we go. So as this comes up, that fires down, pushes that down. This will already be extended, and we can blink this bulb. Wow, yay. And the input for everything is actually going to be this bulb here. Okay, so now we can tie these other circuits in. Firstly, let's do the output, because that will be easier to get to first. So we are looking at this bulb blink. So, observer. And I'm tying to that line. Observer. Come up one. And then, how can I get in here easily? Okay, here we are. And one final observer. There we go, looking at that. Work your way out. And now we tie this up to here by Let's see here. That's glass for a reason. So we can go up one, there, over one, here, up two. Yep. And then bring this over. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, I think that's my half circuit made and tied in. Okay, so how do we test this circuit? Well, I'm going to go over here. And just like I took items out of that one, I'm going to take items out of another one. So now I know I will have a tie. And I will play one of the horses that will give me a tie. And I'll just do 10. Make it easy. I should expect 10 plus half of 10, which is 5. Should expect 15 diamonds. Lost? Okay, something's not right. That should not have done anything until after the horses ran. So what happened here? Okay, so it already ate my diamonds. Okay, let's try this again. That's fine. So it ate my diamonds. And there was, okay. That starts down. That starts off. Okay, so my things got misaligned. So this piston is extended, but the other piston was down. Which is not what we want. We want both things doing the same thing. There we go. That is up. And that is extended. Cool. So now let's try it again. $10 diamonds. Okay, those reset back. Can I see? It's processing the diamonds. Kind of get an angle on the side here. And they're racing, they're racing, they're racing. And it's a tie. Yep. This pulled back, allowing the win. That extended, allowing the half circuit. Which we didn't see that happening, but allowing the half circuit. And now let us count the diamonds. Let us count the diamonds. That one I'm going to put there. I should have, when I get done, 15 down there. So that did not work. That did not work. Why did that not work? Why did that not work? It gave me my 10 back. Oh! Ha ha ha! You know what? I forgot to hook this to the payout system. So that never actually did anything. Okay, I think it's time for lunch, and then I can hook this up and do a proper test. Man, so much to this machine. Very complicated. Okay, lunch is done, and I am feeling better. And I've decided I am going to leave that last clip in the video because it was still useful. It showed that my 1-for-1 payout works like it should. And that involves this piston and this observer moving back and forth. And you need the 1-to-1 to work to then be able to add your half circuit into it. And plus you got to see how it messes up if these pistons, this one and the one on the other side, are misaligned. So now that all being said, I can go ahead and hook these 2 lines here up. And to do that, we are going to come on over here to this observer line, the back one that is looking down, ultimately back down onto where your diamonds are being processed. And we want to connect into this line in front of the bulb, basically the line before it gets to the bulb. So we'll do one there, and then we got to hop over the slime block. So come up one, and then come on over to here, and then one more there. And then that then continues around to the input over here. And then the line out from your half circuit, the blue circuit, comes out through here. And so do a block with a bulb on top, and observer looking at the bulb, firing into another block with another bulb. And then we have to tie back into where this bulb is, because that is then going to go down to our torch tower. We do that with an observer looking up, firing down. And there we go. So before we run our test again, let's just kind of do a quick walk around, make sure things are still looking all right. That is up. The bulb back there is off. The matching bulb over in there is off. That piston matches the other one on the other side. Try this again. Ten diamonds in. Okay, yeah, that was a reset, I think. The clock is running for the horses. The wind, the thing, the doot. Okay, now it's working. And the pattern, yep, that's the pattern for when it, yep. Now it works. Okay. Take out my diamond from there. 15. There we go. Yep. Okay, cool. I want to try 1 diamond. Now 1 diamond should actually give me 1 diamond back, because we will be rounding down. Track is running. The wind, it's kind of doing something. But, yes. They realized it was a tie, but because we are rounding down, it only returns 1 diamond to me. As it should. Okay, now that we have done these tests, let's add some embellishment with some sound effects. Come on over here to this end. Right next to this piston, we'll go down, and we'll do one there. Dust, and a repeater, like this. That is going to fire into a block with a torch on its side, a block on top, one next to it, and some dust, and then let's do a piece of glass with a note block. There we go. Glass down here. Do a repeater on 3-tick delay. Another piece of glass. Another note block. Just making sure things don't connect poorly. Hit this one once. Do another bit of glass here with some dust on it. have an observer. Look at that dust. Go ahead, do some more glass. Do another repeater here on 2-tick delay. And then put down a piece of stone and another note block and hit this 4 times. Now to hear what this sounds like, let's put a signal into here. There we go. Now obviously you can change up the timings and the materials under the note blocks if you want it more rhythmic. But that's what I chose. That's kind of what I like. So that is the sound effect for when we are waiting for the diamonds to be processed. And we know that because it will keep running as long as this line here is lit up, and this lime line is the one used for processing the diamonds. Now the next sound effect we want to put in is the ding 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 that starts the race, or at least that happens just before the race. Here we are. And that, yeah, like I say, it happens just before we start the race, and that will be triggered here at this line, because these repeaters and this leading into this observer line is what goes over to our bulb way over there and actually starts the horses racing. So we are going to tie into this for our sound effect. So right here, above this torch, let's put ourselves a bulb, and then we will take a comparator reading off of it. Put a block down here because we want 2 repeaters, both on a 4-tick delay. That goes into an observer. Yep. Put a block there and here. Right here, next to these, do packed ice with our note block on top. Hit this 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. I mean, I heard it, but just kind of make sure it's in this cubby and has the air gap above it. Right against this glass. Is it against the glass? Yeah, against the glass. Do 2 note blocks with packed ice under it. Hit these 6 times. Yeah, of course it would have to be because we can't put it under that block. This we do block and block. Alright, we want to bring this dust and dust from the observer. It will go through the note block, have a repeater on 4 ticks of delay with redstone dust there. That triggers that one. To trigger this one, we will do a repeater not on the ground. We will do a repeater here with 2 ticks of delay, dust here, and then we want to cut that signal off with the block there. There we go. And that should be our ding 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 sound effect. Okay, we are in the final stretch. So I want some indicators, some indicator lights here in front for when the diamonds are draining out of the shulker boxes. That is good, especially for when you are trying to submit 2 stacks of diamonds. People know what's happening. So right here at this first black bit of wool, I have an observer Looking at that redstone dust with the bulb on top. Come on over to the next one. Observer, bulb on top. And then over here, observer, bulb on top. That way things are kind of just in the middle. Let's not forget to put the non-stackable items, or put the stackable items back in these top two droppers. 4 of these up in here. 4 of them up into here. Let us see if we can do a little bit of decorating around these. Around the shulker boxes, you can use some slabs to go around each of these. Obviously, you can decorate it however you want. And then we can do these blocks around. And then finally, a nice little touch is to add some glow item frames to these squares and put some horse armor in them. There we go. That is decorated and the machine should be done. So before I run the machine, I'm going to reset it one more time. Generally, I can tell there is something off because the lights are not on. So let's just one more time go around. So that is up. Right off, I should say that bulb should be off. But let's see what else is going on. Okay, that's different than the other side. And there's nothing in here, so this is off and that's off. So let us reset this here. I need to reset these. That's what I was trying. Okay, well, I need to turn this off. And then I need to, again, double check that. Okay, and I need to do the same thing to that one. Flick this lever. There we go. Okay. That is... Okay, lights are on. Good, good, good. That's down. That is off. That one in there is off. Good, good. Okay. That's extended. So let's go over and extend this one. Okay, so now I can try playing a real game. Give me a pink. 11 on pink. Pink? Pink? Nope. Okay. But it sounded like it works. And that is the redstone tutorial for this game done. I hope you were able to follow along well enough. If you would like to support my efforts here and my redstone builds, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee you can support me with, and actually future polls for future redstone videos will be listed over there if you would like to vote. When that time comes, I will make some sort of an announcement in my YouTube channel here saying, hey, go over if you like, vote on the next video. However, if you aren't able to do that, at least please hit that like button down below if you liked the video. If you like some of my other stuff and haven't yet, think about subscribing. But until next time, as always, have fun and see ya!